Hello, Fox Fairy, where I talk about marginalized subjects from a marginalized viewpoint, while I learn to draw.
Hello, this will be the first video in my third series of videos that I will be doing. This will be called Unopinionated, and it'll be a collection of videos where I talk about things that I have less of an opinion on and would still like to present information on. However, I'm not quite sure about them. It'll just be one of the first 3 episodes on my channel that are actually serious, and one of the first 3 videos on my channel that will be a part of the series. It will contain subjects relating not to the LGBT community or being about being GRSM, but not necessarily being LGBT. So my first topic for today is ambiamorous. What does it mean to be ambiamorous? Ambiamorous is a sub-label of the polyamorous community where someone would be just as comfortable with a polyamorous relationship or a monogamous relationship. That's me. Someone who's ambiamorous can have a slight preference as long as they wouldn't feel as if they're missing out by not being in a polyamorous relationship or by being in a monogamous relationship. I personally don't have much of an opinion about whether ambiamorous should be recognized as a distinct community from polyamory or if it should be a sub-community of polyamory. I personally think of it as a sub-community of polyamory simply because polyamory manifests itself in different ways, and it wasn't originally defined being an exclusive term. I think that ambiamorous is an important label to have to describe to someone else that you are a type of polyamorous, but you aren't exclusively attached to that, because most people, when you tell them that you're polyamorous, would think that you're only open to polyamorous relationships. I use ambiamorous to tell them that I am perfectly happy in a monogamous relationship. Please, do not try and advance anything. I think it's a little bit important. I don't think it's a hill that I'm worth dying on, but it's a part of my identity, and I think it's an important part. I've been in multiple polyamorous and monogamous relationships that I quite enjoyed, but I can't really say that one is any better than the other. I don't think that all microlabels are inherently bad, just ones that are harmful to other communities. I don't think of it as an LGBT label, I think of it as a GRSM label.
Hi, for future reference in this segment, the definition of todamoric is any gay man who falls under the gravity knife gay definition of gay. I keep saying the gravity knife gay definition of man, but every time I say man in that context, please replace it with the word gay.
The second topic for today will be todamoric, which is a label that I created that accidentally blew up several places on the internet. I created the label todamoric to describe a sexual attraction or romantic attraction that only includes men. Basically, being a gay man who falls under the gravity knife gay definition of man. I created it as a way to say that we needed another label, and I wanted to see what would genuinely happen if I created another label for gays, like that we should just do. Because we're always saying, if you don't like that we're using this label, or feel like it doesn't describe yourself, then just create your own label that only includes gay men. So I did. And then they got upset at me for creating a label that only includes gay men. So I created todamoric as a label that was meant to mirror another label created by someone I was pretty close with, well, not pretty close with, I talked to them on Instagram a couple times, we were fine, who created the label vixenamoric, and I talked to them and discussed flags. Apparently they've changed. I've heard from other people, but not them directly, that they've become a radical person. I don't know, because I stopped doing discourse on Instagram a while ago when it started dying out. But I designed the flag after the vixenamoric flag, and I designed the prefix Todd after the prefix they use, because the prefix vixen is female fox, and they were like, oh, this implies that it's a woman in the situation, and I was like, okay, let's do the same thing with a male fox, which is a Todd. So, you know, it was pretty simple, it made sense at the time, and I identified as todamoric for quite a while, like a year, and I posted like 3 images on it, and behind my back, on Tumblr and Instagram and Twitter and TikTok, there were large communities of people identifying as todamoric, and it became a minute, actual discourse point.
Editor Fox here. If you want to play a fun game, Google todamoric and see what comes up in the Google search results. If you find I think it's either the LGBT or the Mogai Wiki, it actually has my Instagram linked for the source. So that is really funny if you take that time.
Mind you, I had no clue any of this was happening because most of it happened after 2020, when I had already fallen out of the discourse community because I was just too busy and everything was just going on at that time. I was so confused. But rumors went around saying that it didn't include trans men because a TERF used my label as a way to describe their attraction, despite the fact that one of the colors on the flag was explicitly meant to label trans men. Because as you know, I believe that no monosexual attraction label should be exclusive of trans people, because trans men are men, and it really pisses me off when people assume that I don't include trans men in that definition. Yes, obviously I include trans men in that definition. It's just, ugh. But yes, I am the creator of the label todamoric, and I was the first user of it. It started on Instagram, and I put a little bit of it on, like, my TikTok and my, like, bio. But todamoric, any man who falls under the gravity knife gay definition of man, and I still use it to describe myself, but I use it as a subtle discourse label so I can pass in inclusionist spaces, being able to label myself properly, but I'm not using it as any sort of label to replace or outdo gay, because that would be erasure, and I do not stand for that. The rainbow flag discourse. A lot of times people have been saying that gay men should not use the new gay flag, which they've been labeling as the toothpaste flag, and they shouldn't use the purple one either, but most people don't know about the purple flag, so I guess it's not really a valid notion here. Anyway, they've been saying that they should use the rainbow flag. My personal opinion is that the rainbow flag is, and has for a very long time been, for the entire community. This seems like another form of subtle erasure meant to target homosexuals, especially homosexual men. Because if we reduce our symbols and our identification to something for the entire community, eventually we have less and less identification for us to use. I think that a gay man flag is much better than using a rainbow flag. We shouldn't go hiding ourselves in the rest of the community. We're expected to be the representative of everyone else. We're supposed to give up our identities so that other identities can be represented? No, they should all be represented. It's very important for each label and each identity to be represented properly within the LGBT community. I'm not including micro-labels or anything like that. The main 4 at least. This representation isn't equal when we don't even get represented in our own community properly. If we reduce our label flag to the rainbow flag, that's just less symbols for us. It's not a strong opinion that I hold, but it is an opinion that I hold, and I think it was worth getting out there. And we'll do one last opinion for today. The non-binary attracted to binary discourse. Well, I guess it would be binary attracted to non-binary discourse. So, there have been a lot of discourse considering whether or not some binary people who are attracted to non-binary people should label their attraction. And if they do label their attraction, what labels should they use? Some people have been saying that they shouldn't label their attraction at all, and that they should remain unlabeled, because that would be sexualizing non-binary people or intersex people, depending on how you view sexuality. Some have been saying that a label might be important, that they're only open to dating non-binary people, or that they specifically want to point out that there's a safe space for non-binary people in dating. And others have been saying that they should just use labels that are based on non-binary labels in their relationships, like I'm in a toric relationship or I'm in a trixic relationship, if they're dating a non-binary person. Just as if I'm dating a man, I would say I'm in an Achillean relationship, and if a woman is dating a woman, they would say they're in a sapphic relationship, because both of those parties don't necessarily have to be monosexual. In this case, both of those parties aren't non-binary or monosexual. Many have been saying that they should just use bisexual, but others have been saying...
Hello, Editor Fox again. My audio for this section got corrupted, so let me explain. Some people have been saying that they should use the bisexual label, but the argument has been that what if they have trauma related to dating their same gender and they are attracted to non-binary people, and they would not like to label themselves as being open to dating the same gender for trauma purposes.
All of these opinions I have no personal opinion on, so don't come attacking me in the comments. I'm just presenting different viewpoints. In the previous 3, I have had opinions, but my opinions on them was not strong. Thus, the point of the series, Unopinionated, where you could tell me the opposite and I'd be like, okay, that's fine, I don't necessarily agree nor disagree with that. This is one of the things that I really have no opinion on whatsoever. But if you have an opinion, I would love to hear it, and please let me know, because I appreciate new viewpoints, and if you could provide any kind of sourcing or any kind of more important information to sway my viewpoint, I would happily receive it. Alright, that's the end of this video. I'll see y'all later. If you were to subscribe, that'd be much appreciated. Love ya!